salamat, Cory. To the very energetic Governor of the Province of Cagayan and the Chair of the Interagency Committee for Cagayan River Restoration Program, Governor Manuel Mamba. Palakpakan natin si Sir. I think siya po ang pinakaunang dumating dito sa conference hall. No? We're sorry for that, sir. We're really catching up for some of the requirements in the Senate hearing in a little while. To the members of the Interagency Committee, I think we miss RD Lori Malaluan, who is celebrating her birthday today. To the two regional directors of the DENR, Regional Director Engineer Mario Ancheta of MGB, and Regional Director Virgilio Licuan of EMB. Palakpakan natin yung dalawang RDs na ito. Hindi ito matutuloy yung signing ng Memorandum of Agreement ngayon without the necessary preparations done by these two regional directors. To the Assistant Regional Director for Technical Services, Engineer Marcos Dacanay, and the Provincial Environment Natural Resources Officer, Attorney Ismael Manaligod of Cagayan. The two proponents, the Great River North Consortium Incorporated, represented by Mr. Feng Li, and to Riverfront Construction Incorporated, Mr. Baliktad yata. It's the other way around. Sorry, I stand corrected. So for the Great River North Consortium, it's Mr. Antonio Talawi. Palakpakan po natin si Sir. And for Riverfront Construction Incorporated, represented by Mr. Feng Li. And to the members of the Executive Committee of the DENR, Mr. Attorney Paliping of the Technical Working Group, the Chair of the Technical Working Group. Alam niyo sila, Attorney Taliping, sila talaga yung gumagawa ng mga dirty works for the Interagency Committee. That's why we were able to issue a number of resolutions because of the support given by the Technical Working Group. And other guests, sorry po, I could no longer mention your name, no? You are most welcome to the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. This is our regional office. Marami pong salamat sa inyong pagdalo. This is a very, very early meeting, no? And we thank you so much for exerting efforts just to be with us today. As mentioned by Cory, this is really very significant milestone in the history of the DENR Regional Office number 2, no? And of course, in the province of Cagayan, no? Just to give you a brief history on how we proceeded with the different activities of the Interagency Committee, the Honorable Governor, Governor Manuel Mamba, wrote our Secretary Roy A. Simatu, requesting that the restoration program be also implemented in the Cagayan River, no, because it has been written in several articles, in several reports, and even the JICA report way back in 1987 was already recommending for the dredging of the Cagayan River because it is already heavily silted. So given that consideration, our Secretary Roy A. Simatu, approved the request of the Governor. And that started the activities of the Interagency Committee, which is chaired by Governor Manuel Mamba. So here we are today. We will be inking the Memorandum of Agreement. On the part of the DENR, I will be representing the Honorable Secretary, and it will be signed between two proponents, and we would like to extend our appreciation to these two companies, the Great River North Consortium and the Riverfront Construction Incorporated. For the information of everyone, the dredging activities of the Cagayan River will be implemented at no cost to the government. So it will be the two companies who will be shouldering all the expenses related to the dredging activities. And I would like to congratulate them also for complying with all the requirements. I know how hard it is, how rigorous the process was, because the interagency committee would like to ensure that all the activities pertaining to dredging will be as compliant as possible to all the requirements imposed by government, particularly in ensuring environmental considerations in terms of the dredging. So, hindi po kami, sabi namin, in all the agencies, like the DPWH will issue the dredging clearance, it will be forwarded to the Environmental Management Bureau for the environmental impact assessment and the subsequent issuance of the ECC, and to the MGB for the accreditation process. We all agreed in the committee that we will not sign any document unless the requirements are being complied. So again, thank you so much for complying with all the requirements that are stipulated in the department admin order. So without much ado, again, we welcome you and we look forward to a fruitful partnership with you. No? Medyo yung conditions po natin sa MOA ay marami pong mga restrictions, and we hope that the same with what you did for your application process, you will also comply with the implementation procedures indicated in the Memorandum of Agreement. So again, thank you and welcome to DENR Region 2.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat, lalong-lalo na sa ating buting mga bisita, sa ating gobernador na napakasipag kahit kailan. So, allow me to, anyway, the protocol has already been established, so may I go directly to the reading of the accreditation to be issued to the two proponents for our Cagayan River Dredging Program. So this is the Mines and Geosciences Bureau Certificate of Accreditation number CA0021, that's Region 2. This is to certify that Riverfront Construction Incorporated, represented by its president, Mr. Fingley, with business address at Unit Sin 101 Diamond Tower, number 81, Maribeles Street, Mandaluyong City, is an accredited dealer, trader, and or retailer of minerals, mineral products, and or byproducts to excuse me, pursuant to DENR Administrative Order number 20-021, Joint Memorandum Circular 2019-01, DPWH, DNR, DILG, and DOTR, and DAO 2020-07. This accreditation is solely for Cagayan River restoration. I repeat, this accreditation is solely for Cagayan River restoration through dredging and shall be valid for a period of 2 years from the date of issuance or until December 8, 2022. Renewable po ito. Issued this 9th day of December, the year to our Lord, 2020. Signed, Mario A. Ancheta, Regional Director. The same certificate of accreditation is also awarded to the same content, the Great River North Consortium, represented by its authorized representative, Steph Talawe. So, yun po ang dalawa nating certificate of accreditation. Thank you. Maraming salamat.
First of the Interagency Committee on the Restoration of the Cagayan River and its tributaries, headed by our very own Governor of the Province of Cagayan, Governor Manuel N. Mamba, to the members of the media who are present today, to the operator dredgers, and the members of the EXICOM, the DNR, allow me to present to you the content and the rationale of the Memorandum of Agreement to be entered this 10th day of December 2020 in the province of Cagayan. The parties to the Memorandum of Agreement are as follows. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources Region 2, represented by its Regional Executive Director, Gwendolyn C. Bambalan, DPA CESA 4, and the operator dredgers, namely Riverfront Incorporated, represented by Mr. Feng Li, and Great River North Consortium Incorporated, represented by Mr. Antonio Talawe. The rationale of the Memorandum of Agreement are as follows. Whereas the long-term direct culprit of massive flooding in the various barangays and municipalities of the province of Cagayan is the flow of materials and sediment from the upland that cascade down to the major river system, causing the degradation and aggradation thereof. Whereas, in order to restore the natural state and water flow of the heavily silted river channels within the province of Cagayan, and to reduce risk to the lives and property of the residents therein, large-scale dredging and desilting operations based on a comprehensive dredging plan shall be implemented. Whereas, on April 10, 2019, a joint memorandum circular among the DENR, DPWH, DILG, and DOTR was issued providing guidelines on the issuance or permit for dredging within waterways or other inland bodies of water. Whereas, Part 5.4 of the Joint Memorandum Circular provides that the DENR river restoration through dredging activities in heavily silted river channels, including disposal of the extracted materials, shall be covered by a separate order to be issued by the DENR in coordination with DPWH. Whereas on February 27, 2020, the DENR issued Department Administrative Order Number 07 Series of 2020, which prescribes the guidelines for the DENR river restoration through dredging activities under 5.4 of the Joint Memorandum Circular covering the heavily silted river channels within the province of Cagayan. And whereas the DAO 2020-07 requires a holder of an approved dredging clearance to apply for an authority to dispose extracted materials from the river dredging zone through MOA with the DENR Regional Office. The scope of the operations, dredging operations, shall be in the exclusive river dredging zones as defined in the DAO within the river systems in the province of Cagayan. What are the roles and responsibilities of the parties? The DENR shall, number one, conduct the survey of non-metallic and metallic resources on the river dredging zone to determine metallic and other valuable materials in economic quantities. This has already been conducted by the MGB Region 2. Assist the second party in the expeditious acquisition of all necessary and required government permits to undertake the dredging operations in the covered river channels. Coordinate with the interagency committee to monitor the conduct of dredging in the covered areas. And number 4, monitor the operation of the second party to ensure faithful compliance with applicable environmental laws, rules, and regulations, and perform other acts which are in furtherance or are necessary to this agreement to promote economy and efficiency in the implementation thereof. What are the roles and responsibilities of the operator dredger? Number 1, undertake the project without any funding from the government and bear the full cost of the project, including the disposal of the dredged materials. Number 2, report to the DENR any and all findings of precious metals or objects which it may inadvertently come across, which may be of local or national interest. And number 3, present the following documents in accordance with DAO 2020-07. A, endorsement from the province of the provincial government of Cagayan. B, proof of financial and technical capability to undertake large-scale dredging operations. C, dredging clearance from the Department of Public Works and Highways. And letter D, environmental certificate, clearance certificate issued by EMB Region 2. And lastly, undertake that it shall not process dredged materials and shall dispose the same outside the Philippine territorial jurisdiction. Both parties shall, number one, take legal and technical responsibilities for the action of their own respective employees, officers, agents, representatives, and volunteers. Number two, defend and hold each other not liable to any acts or omissions, including third-party claims related to their participation under this agreement. And number three, bear the cost of any damage attributable to itself, its officers, agents, employees, and independent contractors. In addition to the conditions and responsibilities by the operator dredger, in order to maintain the validity of this Memorandum of Agreement, the operator dredger shall ensure compliance to the provisions of DAO 2020-07 as follows. So, mabigat po yung mga responsibilities, but gaya po sabi ni Red, the operator dredgers are more than willing to shoulder these conditions. And they have, in fact, done this. Number one, present proof of posting of cash bond in the amount of 20 million pesos in favor of the provincial government of Cagayan in trust for the river restoration project to ensure compliance with DENR orders and other applicable laws, rules, and regulations, comply with the conditions of the environmental clearance certificate throughout the duration of the project, undertake protection of the river banks from erosion, and provide necessary engineering intervention pursuant to the dredging clearance approved by the Department of Public Works and Highways to support the vital infrastructures along the river. Number four, maintain the accreditation as trader to commercially dispose extracted materials with the DENR MGB Region 2. Number five, certification of no pending case involving violations of existing environmental laws, rules, and regulations, and an undertaking that it will never be involved in such. Number six, submission of documentary requirements for ore transport permit, mineral ore export permit, and notify the DENR in writing prior to every shipment or transport. And ito po, compliance with all applicable environmental rules and regulations. Number 8, secure the necessary permit from the provincial government and payment of all applicable taxes, fees, and royalties to the local and national government. Ito po yung laging sinasabi ng ating IAC chairperson na ang dapat bantayan po ay yung taxes na babayaran po ng ating operator dredgers. And lastly, any work deviation of more than 15% from the approved work program in any of the activities involved without the prior concurrence of the DPWH in coordination with the DENR through the MGB shall be sufficient ground for the suspension or cancellation of the pertinent permits and clearances. The authority to dispose and accreditation as trader. So gaya po ng nabanggit ni RD Ancheta, nabigyan na po yung ating operator dredgers ng accreditation as traders. And this accreditation forms part of the MOA as Annex 1. The miscellaneous provisions, violation by the second party, meaning the dredger operator, or any of its obligation under this agreement shall entitle the DNR to cancel the agreement without prejudice to seeking damages, if any. And nothing in this agreement shall be construed as establishing a relationship of employer and employee or of principal and agent as between the parties, including their personnel. The agreement may not be modified except in writing by the authorized representatives and duly ratified by both parties. If any of the provision is held invalid, all other provisions will remain valid unless such invalidity would hamper the purpose of this agreement. The termination of the project. Okay. Upon completion of the project, all the rights and obligations of the parties shall cease, except those rights and obligations that may have accrued on the date of termination. The agreement shall be effective for a period of 2 years, subject to renewal upon consent by both parties and as approved by the Interagency Committee on the Restoration of the Cagayan River and its tributaries. So that's the content of the Memorandum of Agreement, and we hope that this endeavor will come into fruition as early as possible, as time and again we are of the belief that this is much needed in our province. On behalf of the DNR, maraming salamat po.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, signing the Memorandum of Agreement is DENR Regional Executive Director Gwendolyn Bambalan and the Managing Head of Great River North Consortium, Mr. Antonio Calawe, and President Feng Li of Riverfront Construction Incorporated. Witnessing the MOA signing is Governor Manuel Mamba, MGB Regional Director Maria Ancheta, and EMB Regional Director Edralyn Libuan. Restoration projects around the Paclowski. Once again, thank you DENR Regional Executive Director Gwendolyn Bambalan, Mr. Antonio Calawe, the Managing Head of Great River North Consortium, and President Feng Li of Riverfront Construction Incorporated.
This project, while at the same time signals the beginning of our great effort to dredge and restore the Cagayan River. In light of the recent calamity, there is no greater and more better time to do this project than now. In behalf of the people of Cagayan province and of the entire region too, I would like to express my profound gratitude and appreciation to Secretary Simatu and Governor Manny Mamba for putting this project together. We sincerely look forward to its success and finally be able to elevate and the decades old flooding problems of our beloved region. We at the Great River North Consortium promise to do our very best to make the effort succeed. Thank you po sa inyong lahat at sana maging sa tulong natin lahat, maging matagumpay ang panaginip hindi lang po ng Cagayan province kundi the whole region too, especially sa Bela and Cagayan. because we just, yung ating recently flood, ang mabigat na dinaloy nitong flash flood yung aming bayan Santo Tomas ng Isabela. Dahil kami po ang catch basin ng tubig ng Isabela before pupunta po dito sa Cagayan kay Apo Governor Mamba. Kaya matagal na po itong project na napapag-usapan namin ni Governor na kung po pwede kami sa River North na tumulong sa pag-dredge mitigate ng sobra na ang kanyang hindi na makayanan ng body ng ating Cagayan River yung flow ng tubig. Lalo na siyempre itong river natin kanyang pagka-heavy silted hindi pa pinanganak ata si Jesus, nandyan na yung Cagayan River. Kaya sa tulong ng bawat isa sa atin, sana maging matugumpay at hindi papayag si Governor na hindi maging matugumpay itong project. Mabuhay po tayo lahat.
Anyway, today I didn't prepare any message, but I just say something in my heart.
First of all, I must thank our Honorable Governor Mamba to give us this kind of opportunity, give to the Riverfront to do this project. Thank you a lot, Governor. And also, I will thank all the DENR, all the directors to help us to push this project to this stage. And the Riverfront already stayed in the Abari since last year. We monitor this river for almost 2 years already. And also, along the way, we can see this river really gives a lot of difficult time to the people beside the river. And also, now our company also do some kind of the support to the local peoples. In order to solve the problem of the people beside the river, really this project can help the people a lot. So, in this time, as Riverfront President, I promise to the government of the Philippines, to the Governor Mamba, I will do this project well, under the guidance of all the government. Thank you a lot.
Regional Executive Director, si Ma'am Mucha Bombalan, palakpakan natin. Of course, our partners also, our NGB Regional Director, Mario Ancheta, and our EMB Director, Likuan. Let's give them a round of applause, please. The DENR family nandito ngayon, our media friends, and of course, yung ating mga operator dredgers, the first two, because there will be more coming in. We have Mayor Talawe, let's give him a round of applause, and of course the group, sila Mr. Gatchalian and everybody else. And of course, Mr. Feng Li, let's give him a round of applause also. This is a dream come true for our province. Matagal na nating pangarap ito noon pa. Since I started to be governor of the province in 2016, we have already proposed on this, that we should dredge the Cagayan River to mitigate flooding of the region, especially of our province. We should also dredge the river to open up our port, the port of Apari, which closed because of the heavy siltation of the Cagayan River. Kaya ito ay pangarap ng Cagayano at ng buong rehiyon. And I think yung nangyari sa ating pagbaha is a blessing in disguise. Because finally, the national government acceded and saw the problem of our region. And maybe nakita rin siguro nila, they also saw the opportunity created by the dredging of the Cagayan River. The dredging is just one of the many activities Kahapon po, nandito po sa atin yung task force, Build Back Better. No, talking about how they would build back better the province. Basically because of the mega flood that we have gone through a few weeks ago. And the Build Back Better Task Force ay hindi lang po dito sa atin, including that of Marikina and Metro Manila, and maybe all other river channels in the country in the future. Kaya sa tingin ko, napakalaking tulong at napakalaking oportunidad ito para sa ating lahat. I could only imagine when we are connected to our neighbors up north, who have become the economic tigers of Asia and the world, because we need them and they also need us, because some of their needs also could come from us. But we were never really connected to them. Kaya sabi ko, hindi lang po pagsasalba ng Cagayan River and Cagayanos and the Filipinos na nandito sa North, but it also creates opportunities for us. Kaya ako palagi sinasabi na lahat tayo gwardiyahan natin ito, because this could be subject to abuse by leaders like me. Kaya ang hirap-hirap po nating binenta itong idea ito sa mga tao sa Cagayan. That we have to go through a mega flood, that we have to go through a suffering, so that we will come to realize that we need all these activities that we will be doing in the next years to come. Kaya kayo nagpapasalamat po sa ating presidente na pupunta dito pag palaging meron tayong sakuna. And finally, he was the one who ordered us all na paspasan ito. I was there. The DENR secretary was also there. And after that order coming from the president, the DENR secretary, Secretary Simato, immediately called on me. Sabi niya, Gob, ano pa yung mga problema mo? At kausapin na natin kung sino pa yung may problema dyan. Kaya I saw the interest of them trying to save and creating opportunities for us here in the province of Cagayan. It is very unfortunate ay yung mga dati nating leaders dito who are from Cagayan did not even see the opportunity, did not even see the necessity of doing the dredging of the Cagayan River. That it caused the closure of our connection to the world. It took leaders from other provinces to tell us what to do and to support us in what we have to do in the years to come. Gwardiyahan po natin lahat ito. As a governor of the province, we come and go. We are just passerbys. But preparing a future is part of a better future for our people is part of our obligation. And this is what motivated me, and I know most of you are motivated by this too. That we should prepare a better future for our children and our children's children. And the activities that we have to undertake in the years to come or in the decades to come will be preparing a better future. Hindi na po para sa atin, matanda na tayo, but more so for the generations that would come after us. And I hope that all our motivation is towards this end. Nakita natin the limitations of money, the limitations of material things. COVID taught us lessons. Kahit para napakarami ng pera mo, hindi ka makapagpasyal ngayon dahil sarado ang buong mundo. Kahit pala napakaraming pera mo, hindi ka pa pwede palang sumakay sa eroplano. Kahit nasa cruise ship ka na pala, pabababain ka pa ng COVID. Look at this. I think all of these things opened our eyes, opened our thoughts. That really, what counts most is how we try to live our lives. And I hope na we have already learned our lessons, especially here in Cagayan. It's now time na tayo na mismo ang magsasabi, magpapanukala, gagwardya, to see to it that the next generation of Cagayanos and Filipinos will be much, much better than where we are today. Thank you so much sa ating mga proponents. And I hope that we will not just be partners in dredging our river, but also connecting our people to your people. Because I know this is a consortium of not only Filipinos, but of Chinese, Taiwanese, South Koreans, Japanese, because they all came to me. They all wanted to dredge the river. At the same time, connect their countries to our province and to our people. At nakikita ko po ito. I also see this at this point in time. And this is the future that we have to work on. All of us, especially our children and our children's children. So again, thank you so much kay R.D. Mutia, ganun din kay R.D. Mario and R.D. Licoan sa tiyaga nyo na tumulong sa ating probinsya. You may not be from this place, but I saw your heart in really trying to push for what is best for us and our people. So sa atin po lahat, maraming salamat. It will be a long partnership, and a long, tedious one for all of us. And I hope na masabi natin sa tao para maintindihan nila itong ating ginagawa. This is not for ourselves alone, but more so for the coming generation that would come after us. Thank you so much, and God bless po sa ating lahat.
Maraming salamat po, sir. Muli palakpakan po natin ang butihing ama ng probinsya ng Cagayan, Honorable Governor Manuel Mamba. Before we
and of course the members of the Interagency Committee, go from here, ano na po yung susunod na trabaho? What would now be the next move towards the realization of this long dream of yours and of the Cagayanos?
Well, una-una, we will have to issue the notice to proceed for our dredgers, So we have to compare notes with them, para if they are now ready, because I think the weather will count a lot, kung kailan sila makakapag-umpisa. And then they will also have to pay the bond of 20 million. Deposito ito sa provincial government under the care of the Interagency Committee, kasi kailangan natin ito para to ensure us that they do it the right way. So ito na lang yung kwan natin, and then because we were talking to them about the possibility of starting it as soon as possible, pero sabi nila it all depends on the weather. Dahil hindi naman sila makapag-cooperate kung masama ang weather, especially kung malalaki mga alon natin. So we will be sitting down again towards para we will be sitting it out with them para ma-start natin kaagad-agad ito. At sabi nga nila, they want to start as soon as possible, but they will have to depend on the weather.
Yes po, magandang umaga po. Director, at dito po sa gagawin po natin na dredging, hanggang saan po yung area po nito? Ang scope po niya.
Maraming salamat sa inyong pagdalo, members of the media, and thank you so much for your question. Yung initial natin na river dredging zone na ngayon ay may dalawang dredgers na mayroon ng agreement will only be within the first phase, covering around 8 kilometers. Pero yung buong river dredging plan, which was prepared by the Department of Public Works and Highways and approved by the Interagency Committee, will cover around 30 kilometers. So from the mouth of Apari up to around 30.8, if I'm not mistaken, yung total kilometers na stretch. Yun po muna yung coverage. So there are 7 proponents for the first phase. And the 2 now have memorandum of agreement with us. So sila po muna yung mag-i-start ng dredging activity dyan po sa mouth ng Apari. And they have a specific area to dredge.
DCYT. Director, ibig mo sabihin po dahil itong dalawang contractor ho ay sila pa lang muna ang nakapag-comply doon sa mga requirements po na inilatag ko ng interagency.
Opo, in accordance with Department Admin Order number 2020-07. So may mga requirements po doon, and in fact, it took us how many months to prepare the criteria. There is an evaluation criteria first done by the province of Cagayan. Mayroon pong technical working group created for that purpose. And after that, it will still undergo series of evaluation by the different agencies like DPWH for the dredging clearance, the environmental impact assessment by the Environmental Management Bureau, and also yung permit coming from the Mines and Geosciences Bureau before the MOA is signed. And after that, it will be the province now, through the governor, to sign the notice to proceed.
Okay. Matagal-tagal pa itong dredging activities dito sa Cagayan River. Wala po ba tayong balak sa interagency na isasama na rin sa mga susunod na taon na isama yung mismong mag-draga na i-dredge na rin yung loob dahil 30 meters na yata yung siltation niya, Director?
Actually po yung DAO 2020-07 is for heavily silted rivers. All heavily silted rivers in the Philippines. And Cagayan River is just one of the many rivers na heavily silted na yung ating findings doon. So the whole Cagayan River actually, but it will depend on the provincial government kung saan yung stretch ng river na yon to apply. Kasi the process will start with the application or the letter of intent coming from the local government units concerned. So in the case of Cagayan, it was the Governor Manuel Mamba, who wrote our secretary. And he signified intent to be included in the DAO 2020-07.
Are we safe to say, RD, that these 2 proponents are just the first proponents to implement the phase 1, and we are expecting for other proponents to implement the next phases of this project?
As mentioned by our governor, there are actually 8 segments in the first phase, and in that segment, I think meron na pong identified 7 applicants who initially passed the first screening of the province, but they will still undergo several processes. Kaya po kaya nga kinukongratulate ko po yung Great River at saka Riverfront because they were the first to hurdle the rigorous and I think to me it's also cumbersome on their part to submit all the necessary requirements because we would like to ensure that all the environmental considerations are really put in place.
Anong mangyayari po dun sa minerals at saka yung mga waste materials na napupuha po itong dalawang project po natin?
Good morning po. Actually, yung extracted materials, which is commonly called yung mga river sand. So, sa identification namin, initially sa parting Apari, we cannot find the higher value of yung lagi natin kasi binabanggit na black sand. But then, on the result, which will be coming from our metallurgy division from the MGB Central Office, with the threshold as far as the study is concerned, the 6% content is not considered valuable materials for the black sand. But then, if this threshold of 6% exceeded to 7 and above, the corresponding imposition of taxes for the iron will be imposed. But 6% below, the tax will be purely on the tax on sand and gravel, which is the corresponding tax for that purpose. Kung meron pa tayong ibang makikita dyan, so hindi lang iron ang pinates namin. We took into consideration some other minerals, baka meron pa mga ibang byproducts dyan. So we will rely from the metallurgy division kung ano pa yung mga makikita natin sila dyan. Pag meron, the same thing, we will be imposing the necessary taxes for these minerals. But then, at this moment, lalo sa part ng aparin natin, technically, pag ako na magsasabi niyan, purely sand yan. Kumbaga, talagang nandyan yung sand natin. So, yun lang muna. At kasi hintayin pa namin yung result ng Metallurgy Division para we will be accurate on saying what will be byproducts of that sand in the Cagayan River system.
Okay po, thank you very much.